terrorist attack planned for Rio. Better start learning what this world really is about. It's totally different from what you thought. They are in control. They are just puppets put in place, your presidents. And why do so little people understand the real world? Because many are too stupid and ignorant to understand there's something wrong, and others who are thinking are misled by Alex Jones, Ron Paul, yes, even Ron Paul. He's a misleader and a traitor and a Freemason. Brother Nathaniel, the Crux, Zeitgeist, Truth Seeker, all these sides mislead you. They give you a little bit of truth and a lot of misleading. How is that possible? Apparently the white race consists for a great part of rats. Selling their own brother out is not a choice, it's a given. They all do it. For the right amount of money, most white race men will sell out anybody. And you live in a meticulously constructed fantasy world. These people are in control, and they set up big events. And they think out mass immigration. And then a puppet, a Freemason, he signs laws that there is mass immigration. A boycott against Russia, another puppet is put in place, Obama, and they think it out, and they sign the laws. Keep it very simple. These people are in control, and you think he's in control. That's your fault. And all these people work for them. Trump, a Satanist, because this is Satanism. Freemasons, Satanism, Zionism, it's all the same. He has to distract you with his show on TV. Monster Garage. And these names are all no coincidence. Monster. Of course, they want to kill everybody. Putin and Russia, it's all the same. America, Russia, China, Europe, all controlled. Is this understandable? Of course it is, because they tell you the truth. Truth is very clear, and there's proof of the truth. These pictures are real. And they work with the Kabbalah. In the Kabbalah it says two most important things. Take over the world. Well, you saw them with all the world leaders. This is what they do. And if you share your evil plans with others, even when they don't understand it, your karma is lifted. This means they think out something like 9/11 and they warn you in advance to unburden their karma. And they work with the protocols of Zion. Endorse democracy, then bribe the politicians. You think you vote for Bush or Obama. What a joke. Overcome resistance that will certainly come with terrorism. Make everybody think everybody's equal, especially at universities. These are the protocols of Zion, they are real. Of course, now it's about the terrorism. We had 9/11, and 9/11 was a symbolic act. One of the towers was a male, yeah, that's really true, and one a female. And these towers, they represented Boaz and Jachin from the Bible, the two pillars that are in front of the Temple of Solomon. This is all symbolic. Through the ages, they put all their symbolism everywhere. And they warned us in movies. For example, in the movie They Live. Everybody should see this movie. There are two pillars. Well, it's a little bit hard to see with these pictures, but there are explosions and two pillars collapse in this movie. And they both fall down, the two pillars. And of course they represent the Twin Towers. And you think, that's a little far-fetched, but this movie was about how we are controlled. It was not something random. We are controlled through the protocols of Zion. That's a fact. They explained it in this movie. And they also said that the ones that control us are aliens. Well, okay, let's forget that for a moment, but these protocols of Zion, they are real. They explained like, you're only interested in consuming. You see all these commercials and you want it too. You're focused only on money and consuming. And this is the real meaning of all these commercials. You can forget the specific pictures of the specific commercial and replace it with conform, consume, buy, submit, watch TV. That's what it's really about. They also explained money is our God. This is your God. We will do anything for money. We worship money, and this will be our downfall. But also the stock market and reading all these magazines about stocks and the news and politics, it's all bullshit. The real meaning is buy, buy, buy. Do not question authority, all these things. And this is explained in this movie, The Protocols of Zion. They brainwash you. That's what they do. Watch TV, no imagination. You cannot imagine what's really going on in the real world. Because you're brainwashed, distracted, conditioned. And they explained it in this movie. If more of us were upright, loved the truth, were humble, wanted to work with others, were of goodwill, this is extremely important. All these things, we would save ourselves automatically. It's also explained in this movie. And now what we do, I want more money. How can I cheat you out of your money today? The big question that everybody's concerned with today. We are divided. Nobody cares about anybody else. How can I profit from you? I can't get a job, so I become a soldier and pretend to defend the country. In reality, I kill innocent children in countries that never did anything to America. We're doing everything wrong. White trash, how can you say that of your own kind? Are you insane? All these things we do wrong. But okay, they explained 9/11 and the protocols of science specifically in this movie They Live. They warned us with The Simpsons about 9/11. It's in the dollar. Yes, look it up. It's in the dollar. The Twin Towers collapsing. Leonard Cohen, he made a song, First we take Manhattan, then we take Berlin. Guided by a system in the heavens, the beauty of our weapons, and he makes a farewell sign to the Twin Towers. And he said in the interview, it's a terrorist song. You always want an admission, that they admit that they did all these things. Well, he admitted it. And in The Matrix, 9/11, 2001. And in the movie is a line, the whole building is loaded with explosives. And these are all small hints at the truth. They share their evil plans with us to unburden their karma. And the real Twin Towers, we found nanothermite in the rubble. So you found this substance, why it caused collapse. Well, it's an explosive. There were explosives in the Twin Towers. He's a professor in chemistry. And this was on Danish television. Because like the movie They Live explained, you are controlled by the protocols of Zion in the United States and Europe for a great part. Protocols of Zion control the media. So this can never be on American television, the truth. You must not know the truth, because then you cannot be killed anymore. You have to be killed. That's the end goal. The white race in America has to be erased. You doubt it when you look around you in Chicago, New York, Detroit. All these cities were 100% white at one time, almost 100% white. They warned us through the Illuminati card game. We forget about this, Illuminati. No, it's a factual plan for the New World Order. And the Twin Towers were attacked in this game. And the Oklahoma building was in the dollar with Timothy McVeigh, remember? They made it in the dollar. It's unbelievable, but it's really there. It's so factual, correct. The building, like how it was in reality after the bombing, it's incredible. And all these things, the Aurora Theater, the shooting, they all warned us in advance. And recently, they had a fashion show in a supermarket, very strange, with Rihanna. She has to distract you with music. Cara Delevingne, all these Satanists. And here was the fashion show from Karl Lagerfeld. And what happened after that? It was in Paris, by the way, this show. What happened after that? A shooting in a supermarket. And this was all set up because this is breaking news. The shooting just happened. Already they called it Je suis Charlie. I am Charlie. I am Ra is hidden in the name. Satan. They already, after a few minutes, they called it this. It proves that it was all set up. because this was the whole campaign. These politicians after the shootings were walking around with this "Je suis Charlie." It was all thought out, just like 9/11 was all thought out. You have to come to terms with an abstract idea that big things are all thought out, and then they happen, like all these events in real life. 9/11, Je suis Charlie, but they are thought out long time ago. So what you have to deal with, accept, see it. And they made another warning with a fashion show. And maybe you see it, this fashion show is in a subway. Did you see that? They are in a subway. And with the Hasidic rabbi's head, they are standing in a subway. And these chains represent they sold their soul to the devil. Golden chains to do this terrorist attack in a subway. Look, he's standing there. And they're walking. Boom. And this is a bomb going off. And the image shakes because the bomb went off. And they're walking there in this subway. This guy has flowers for the grave. That's all the symbolism they like. And he's wearing a bag. They're explaining that apparently explosives will be carried in this bag and put in a subway, and then it will all explode. Here he is again with the bag. And he looks tormented. This is all totally thought out. And here he is in the bag, suspiciously looking with the flowers. There he was standing with this bag again, here. And this has great similarities to, but there's much more to this video, but I will keep it like this. This has great similarities to the fashion show in the supermarket, of course. And this is the blueprint, you might say, how it all works. And they made this movie where in Argentina where this guy bangs on the door and then the plane crashes because the pilot doesn't listen to the passengers anymore, and he's flying this plane out of control. This happened in real life with this guy Andreas, and this picture was put in all the papers at the San Francisco at the San Andreas fault. These are the games they like to play. And in Rio, I think something big might happen. Because first of all, this whole Jesus idea is thought out by our controllers. We've been controlled for a long time throughout history, like 10,000 years from the time of Egypt. That Egypt, Babylon, that's when it all started. And then it went like this in a timeline over thousands of years. And then Jesus was only somewhere around here. But in the time of Egypt, like this is 2,000 years ago, Jesus. But 10,000 years ago, they already had Horus, who was crucified, resurrected. So you have to see things very big throughout history, and then you can understand things. Okay, point number 2. You know now that things are hidden in songs, series, commercials, movies. I just gave you a few examples, but there are many, many more. Terrorism is very old. It's in the Protocols of Zion. The terrorism that we experience now is new. The scale of things is so big, all these big attacks all over the world. It is meant to crush our spirit and also to take our freedom and realize a new world order. Because it's about changing legislation, taking our freedom. And they announced this big worldwide terrorism and taking our freedom through laws and legislation in a movie. And what was this movie called? It was called Brazil. And I never understood the title of this movie. Why? It's a movie from 1985 that announces big terrorism. and new laws that take our freedom and that control everything. Why was this movie named Brazil? Well, maybe because something big is going to happen in Brazil. Maybe. And let's take a quick look at a small part of this movie.
The Ministry of Information, Deputy Minister, Eugene Tubman. Good evening, David. What do you believe is behind this recent increase in terrorist bombings? Bad sportsmanship. A ruthless minority of people seems to have forgotten certain good old-fashioned virtue. They just can't stand seeing the other fellow win. If these
This is a politician explaining all this terrorism going on, and then they're talking about these new laws that take our freedom and control everything, check what we're doing.
on behalf of the taxpayer. People want value for money. That's why we always insist on the principle of information retrieval charges.
Information retrieval charges. So the government in this movie is charging people to get information, and they're controlling everything, checking everything.
It's absolutely right, that those found guilty should pay for their periods of detention and for the information retrieval procedures used in their interrogation.
It's all about the government controlling us. This is all about control. That's what these bombings are all about. Maybe you remember Bush with "They hate our freedom and rights." He said something along these lines. And in this movie, he just said, they just can't stand seeing the other fellow win. It's so eerily close, all these things, because it all comes from our controllers at the top. Bush is controlled, and Terry Gilliam, who made this movie, is also controlled. It all comes from the same source, from these Hasidic rabbis that control our world. And always remember, like they explain this movie, laws that are going to be changed because of terrorism. That's the essence. And now we get to the very small hint in this movie called Rio. In this movie called Rio, there's a small hint of a possible terrorist attack. I don't know if it's going to happen. Well, you saw this hang glider crashing on the beach, and they're saying we're gonna die. And I don't know, this could symbolize that a plane is going to crash on a beach in Rio. I don't know if it's really going to happen, but you saw all these other hints, like this Karl Lagerfeld fashion show in Paris from Chanel, and in a supermarket, and then there was a shooting in a supermarket, and this plane where the pilot Andreas did not open the door anymore in the movie, and then later, a few months later, it happened in real life. 9/11 in The Simpsons. All these things are real, because in the Kabbalah it says, if you share your evil plans with others, even when they don't understand it, and that's very important, your karma is lifted. That's what it's about. We don't understand, or most of us don't understand, how warnings of terrorist attacks and of future things to happen could be in something like The Simpsons or in this children's cartoon. But this might very well happen, and even if it doesn't happen, you still learned a lot now. You learned about all these things hidden, who really controls our world. That's very important. And what's happening now? They're moving towards Zion, the new world order, the takeover of the world, the end of the white man. And that's the only thing that's important anymore. Do you want to save the white race? Because our numbers are diminishing. We have to die. Do you want to save the white race? Look around you in all the big cities in Europe and America. They're all turning brown and black. This is real. It's all happening. Do you want to save the white race? That's basically the only question left at this point. Do you want to save innocent children like this? That's basically the only question left.